On this channel, $1 Million Made Easy, we simply run numbers for people. And what we do, we're going to look at somebody that's reached retirement now, is reaching retirement age. So we can show you all kinds of different scenarios. We can change your asset allocation, how much you want to leave in the S&P 500, how much you want to have it going over a cash reserve account. We can change the COLA, the amount you're going to increase each year. We can change your Social Security, what you're getting that, when you're getting it. We can, of course, look at the numbers of what you need. And this is the key number right here is how much do you need? What are your current expenses? Let's just take somebody that's got $650,000. Everybody likes to strive for $1 million, but not very many people make it. Let's say you have $650,000 saved up and you're needing $4,500 a month. And what we also do is take into account inflation here. The average inflation, Social Security. The average Social Security was $1,900 last year. So we're going to say you're ready to retire and you're going to start taking your Social Security right away. So of this 4,500, we really only need 2,600 coming from your nest egg because 1,900 is coming from your Social Security. Now, if we change that to maybe the fourth year, maybe you're retiring at 62 and you don't want to take it till last time 67, then you'd begin with the 4,500, but in the fifth year, you'd start taking less out because 1,900 that's coming from Social Security. But another thing we do, people have told us that you've probably heard of the go-go years when you first retire, that first decade, then the slow-go years when you start slowing down, and then finally the no-go years. Maybe your 60s, your go-go, 70s, your slow-go, and the 80s, your no-go. So we can change these amounts right here. Say, for example, in that second decade, we're just showing you what we can do on this channel. You cut back on your expenses by 10% because aren't doing near as much. And then the second decade or the third decade, you're cutting back even another 10%. Again, healthcare costs might affect these, but we're just showing you how this works, how we can change these numbers any way you want. So let's say you do take the Social Security immediately. You only need 2,600 from your nest egg. These are showing the 1924 numbers. Again, what do we do on this channel? We simply look at the actual historical returns for the last 100 years. We project ahead what similar returns might do for the future and results in simply a possible range. So here's what's going on here. We're just using the numbers from 1924 on. Obviously, none of these will be duplicates. None of them will repeat, but we're kind of going to give you a range of what may happen in the future. So for example, if 2025 numbers were like 1924 going forward, these would be what you have. These are the amounts would you have given this scenario, starting with 650,000, taking 40, you need 4,500 and 2,600. That's coming from your nest egg because the rest of it's coming from Social Security. So that's how we work these numbers. We also got the 3% COLA built right in. Let's do a 70-30 split, 70% staying in the S&P 500, 30% going in the cash reserve. I'm just showing you how all these numbers can work, and then we'll go ahead and update this for every single year. So in other words, you're going down through here, 2,600, it's increasing, and in the 10th year, from the 10th to the 11th year, when this 10% kicks in, then you only need 3,053 coming out of your nest egg, and the rest is coming out of Social Security, which is also increasing, usually by the rate of inflation, or at least what they tell us. So this is going to show us the 1924 numbers. You'd be just fine after each of these time periods. Now, as I go down through, you're going to see the numbers change right here, and you're going to see maybe some red start showing up, because if you start out initially with down years, that can be really problematic. They call that sequence of returns risk when those first years are down years. But just watch as I go down through. These numbers are going to change. These numbers are going to change. You're going to start seeing some red. 1925, you're fine. These are the numbers. 1926, you're fine. These are the numbers. 1927, you're still doing okay after 10, 15, 20 years. That's what we're doing. But watch what happens in 1928. All of a sudden, you're running out of money in just over 25 years. And if you go 1929, you're running out of money in 16 years. Now, obviously, 1929 was the Depression years, but we like to take into account everything. We don't want to rule out anything. These are the actual returns for the S&P 500 for the last 100 years. We don't know for sure there's not going to be another Depression years, but even more recently, the year 2000 is one I want you to look at too. So we're going to go down here and look at the 2000 numbers. see if they would be a problem. Let's go ahead and start in 1997. 1997, no problem. Of course, there hasn't been 30 years since 1997, so I'm just going to be watching this box right here. As these down years get closer, watch what happens. 1998, you still got a lot of money left after 25 years. You're starting with 650,000. You still got 620,000. Watch what happens in 1999. Still okay, but you're getting down to 173. Watch what happens in the year 2000. Why? Because you're going to have 3 down years. Then all of a sudden you've got the red showing up. You've got $70,453. Again, these are approximations left after 20 years, but it's getting kind of iffy. You can see right down here, you're actually running out of money in 22 years. If the returns going forward are like the 2000, we had some good years between here and here, but then you got down 37. You had some really good years, but was there enough money left in your S&P 500 account to benefit from these good years before you ran out of money down here? And your cash reserve, again, is we're using that for when the market's going down. So there's 31,000 is coming out of the cash reserve account, not out of the S&P 500 account, because that's already being knocked down. But let's go ahead and update this for every single year. See how many years you'd have a problem in the last 100 years, besides the depression years and besides the year 2000. And we're going to see some percentages here. How many times would you run out of money if the returns were like the last 100 years? Only 2% of the time after 20 years and 4.2% of time after 30 years. So you would be just fine with this scenario, 4,500 a month. If we go up to 5,000 a month and update this, then we're going to start having more years that we might have an issue using the returns for the last 100 years. Hopefully this all makes sense to you. But again, using Social Security right off the bat, okay, we got a 7% failure rate after 20 years and at 8.5% after 30 years. Most of these were during the depression years, but we also have some problems in the year 2000. You can see right now I still got 2000. In this case, you're running out of money in 17 years. 17 years you run out of money if you took out 5,000. So if we had returns going forward like the year 2000 and you wanted to withdraw 5,000 and you were getting 1,900 from Social Security, you would run out of money in the year 2000. How about 1999? Yeah, you're running out of money there. You can see the red right there. 1998, no problem. Here's a summary box. 2000 was a problem. How about 2001? Yeah, 2001, you're still having an issue. 2002, no problem. You got 242,000 left after 20 years. Again, we haven't any 25 years since the year 2002. But that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people just to give them some idea of how everything might work. Do they have enough? Is this 650,000 enough? Again, we're doing a 70-30 split. We could do a 60-40 split or whatever. You pick the asset allocation. You tell me how much you think you need, and we'll see if the amount that you have saved up is enough when we run the numbers and we see that 7% of the time you have a problem withdrawing. If you needed 5,000, of which 3,100 is coming from your nest egg initially. We could change the COLA. That would change things a little bit. See if that changes much. See if this 7% changes at all. Updating this for every single year. 2% COLA. Are you comfortable with that? But that's one thing you can do. Okay, well, it went from 7% to 4% at a time. So you improve your odds. Again, if you only needed the 4,500 and kept the 2% COLA, then you're going to be in really good shape, except that probably 1929, because that was such a horrible time. But you can see most of the time you're going to be just fine with it. 650,000 if you're taking your Social Security initially. Again, we can change those numbers if you take it in the 5th year. Taking a 2% COLA, needing 4,500. Let's do a 60-40 split. I'm just trying to show you all the different scenarios we can do for you on this channel, just running numbers for you, seeing if the amount that you have has a good chance of success depending on what you're withdrawing. So in this case, you got 4% of the time you'd run out of money if you waited until the 5th year to start taking your Social Security. Say you retired at 63 and you didn't want to take it till age 67, you'd be taking 4,500 out. That's 4,500, increasing that by 2% a year for the first 4 years. And then in the 5th year, your Social Security kick in, so you wouldn't need as much coming out of your nest egg. And you can see here, in all cases, you'd not have any problems, except again, let's see, with the year 2000. 2000, again, those are the two problem areas in the last 100 years. Do we know what's going to happen in the next 100 years? Do we know we're not going to have a, let's see here, right here. Sure, we're not going to have a decade like the 1930s or the year 2000s. If you're pretty sure, not going to have those, but nobody knows. So I always like to look at the worst case scenarios. If we had the year 2000, returns like the year 2000, and you did a 60-40 split, you did a 2% COLA, and didn't take your Social Security until the age 67, you would run out of money if you had the returns. Again, if we go back to the year taken initially, then you're not running out of money until year right here. That's 24 years. Again, all depends on what's happening when you first retire, how much of your money's in the stock market if you have a 60-40 split, and whether you have those down 3 years. But hopefully this makes sense to you. This is what we do on this channel. We run all kinds of different numbers. Again, is what you have saved up enough? Again, it depends on how much your expenses are. Are you willing to cut back if we have returns like the year 2000? But that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. You want me to run numbers for you? Give me your beginning balance. In this case, we were looking in the withdrawal situation, what you're going to withdraw each month, what kind of a COLA you want, and we'll go ahead and run the numbers. But thanks for watching this channel. Please consider subscribing, sharing, and liking these videos. Let people know that we run numbers for them both in the withdrawal stage. Do you have enough saved up? And also in the accumulation stage, we show you how to get to these kind of numbers. We show you how you can get to $1 million if you start young. But please subscribe, please share, like the videos, and thanks so much for watching.